something kind of fascinating and depressing at the same time about human nature. And that is, anytime we're looking for a reason to talk ourselves out of something, we will find those reasons each and every time to deny us something that we really, really want. And there's reasons everywhere galore. We don't even have to be looking for reasons to either deny ourselves or talk ourselves out of something. Reasons will fall into our lap even when we're not looking. They could be shiny objects, the infamous squirrel, whatever the case happens to be. Something that distracts us, pulls us away, or just pushes us around like a rag doll. And then we wonder why our lives can be kind of chaotic, or we don't really go too far in major ways in a direction that we want to go with our lives, or what we're trying to do, solve problems, achieve dreams and goals, whatever it might be. We have no focus. And in the midst of all of it, we have a big important ego to protect. So whenever we talk ourselves out of something or get distracted, we can't help ourselves. We will do the incredible mental gymnastics to come up with a rationale, the solid fact-based reasoning as to why we have to talk ourselves out of whatever or deny ourselves or whatever it happens to be. And the reason that rationale behind it all is so important is because it makes it easier for us to live with ourselves, for being quitters or non-starters. In this country, the richest country in the world, 98% of the population, 49 out of every 50 people, before the age of 65 years old are either dead or dead broke, completely dependent and needy upon the federal government, friends, and family as the main source of their income. So being a non-starter is kind of a big deal, or getting started on something but then quitting and losing focus, getting distracted, shiny object, that's all a pretty big deal. I'll use my own example because I like to practice what I preach or talk about. So I'm not particularly very smart, especially book smart. I was a straight D student, D as in David. I was in the special education classes because I wasn't too bright, and I still got held back a year in grade school. I suffered once upon a time economically. I once upon a time had a job that was very depressive and oppressive, paid like crap, and bosses that were complete jerk faces. I had one boss that was really cool though. I had severe lack of money and severe lack of income. Once upon a time, my income was zero. I'm not talking about when I was a kid. I'm talking about my adult working life. I had an income of zero once, not even minimum wage or government subsidies, nothing. I had lack of time. I had the problems that everybody else has, for the most part, spun in my own ways that were particular to me. Fast forward to today, I don't have those problems anymore. And it wasn't because I was smart. I wasn't. I got straight D's. And it wasn't because I had time in my hands or money. I didn't have either. I had all these problems, and the only thing I really believe, this one singular reason why I was able to solve those problems, is because I went from being a non-starter to a starter. And then once I went to being a starter, I went from being a quitter to a person that just sees stuff through. When the going gets tough, figure it out. There's no mental gymnastics to rationalize quitting or being a non-starter. I used to do all those things. I used to have no income and no time, and my lack of skills held me back, but I began learning. So I don't think I'm dumb anymore. Maybe I might still get D's in grade school. I really don't know, but I know the skills that I need to know to solve those problems that I needed to solve and achieve what I wanted to achieve. So all those factual things that you use as reasoning to be a non-starter or a quitter, it's bullshit. That's ego protection. I was in the business of ego protection too, and that allowed me to hang on to my reasons and rationale for a very long time, and I suffered for a very long time. And then I gave all that up, and I began a new search for why I must get started and be a starter, and why I must see things through, and why I have to stop that mental gymnastics to come up with the reasoning, because like I said earlier, the reasons are so profoundly out there galore that you don't even need to be looking for them. And they will fall on your lap, and if you're not focused and dedicated to seeing stuff through, being a starter when the going gets tough, you double down. You don't quit when the going gets tough. You figure it out. If you don't dedicate yourself to those things, you will be distracted. You will be part of the 98% that's either dead or dead broke, completely needy and dependent upon the federal government, friends and family as the main source of your income. And those people, typically they've got multiple chronic diseases because they were not faithful with their health. They weren't faithful with their time. They weren't faithful with the resources that they had started out with, whatever that was, and they weren't focused on probably much of anything in a meaningful way. So don't fall into that trap. It all starts with changing your mind. You've changed your mind on other things before. You can change your mind again. You've learned other skills before. You can learn some new skills that are more in alignment with what you want. But the key behind all of that, really, honest to God, is just being focused. And through focus and not letting yourself get distracted and being a non-starter or being a quitter, that's where you're going to learn the skills that you need to get what you want through that focus. And that's where you're going to start to solve those problems, whether it be time, money, health, whatever else that's going on out there. Okay? I hope that helps. I have a website. It's called TomBerkenmeyer.com. Just like it's spelled here on social media, TomBerkenmeyer.com. Take out the space, all lowercase. And if you love health and fitness and wealth, and you love the idea of making money by perpetuating health and wealth instead of making money by perpetuating sickness and managing people's poverty, then get a hold of me. Facebook private message me, and I'll show you what I'm up to. It's all about health and wellness related stuff. And I'll hear from you soon. Share this. Get this idea out there of focus and how incredibly important it is, where you could be dumber, you could be slower, like I am, than probably the average person. But if you're more focused than the average person, or you're more focused than somebody who's way smarter than you, an intellectual genius, we have a lot of educated derelicts in this country, probably around the world. But you are more focused and more dedicated to being a starter and a see-it-througher than they are. You could run circles around them. You could run circles around them. There's plenty of smart people in my life that got straight A's who are underwater financially, and they're needy upon government subsidies and help from various people. Or they're in really bad consumer debts. They've got health problems that are brought on by poor lifestyle choices. And they can't seem to get ahead or get ahead in a meaningful way. There's all kinds of people that have an income greater than mine when I got started on my own journey, and I've passed them up. And there's all kinds of examples like this. And I'm not the only example. This is pretty consistent when you look at 49 out of the 50 versus the 1 out of 50 people. That 1 out of 50 is typically extremely focused, and they're not even necessarily that bright. And they necessarily didn't start with a lot of money or any money or time. And usually that 1 out of 50 had much bigger problems and setbacks, much harder facts in their life than the 49 out of 50 that were the non-starters and the procrastinators and the quitters, the ones that didn't see it through. The 1 out of 50 that does extraordinarily well, they typically have more facts stacked against them, especially when they started their journey, than the 49 out of 50 that's still making up excuses and doing the mental gymnastics to rationalize it all the way why they can't get started, or why maybe they did get started but they have to be a quitter and not see it through. It's the way it is, and that's all a mind thing. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter your financial situation, how much time you have, your skill set, or your past, or any of that stuff. All that matters is the decision you make in your brain, and that's something you actually have complete control over, that decision you make in your brain. If you change your mind about something, that's where your control is. And it's a good thing, because that's the one place where a domino effect can be created in either direction, good or bad. So you decide the direction of that domino effect by how you change your mind. And there you go. TomBerkenmeyer.com. Share this and reach out to me if you like the idea of making really good money by perpetuating health and wealth instead of sickness and managing people's poverty. I'll hear from you soon. Bye for now. Mwah.